Good day and welcome to this presentation. The title of my research paper is Analysis of the Impact of the Unidroit FAO IFA Legal Guide on Contract Farming in Promoting Rural Development, Sustainable Agriculture and Food Security, a case study on Nigeria by Ekoja Okewu Ako. Introduction. Agriculture has been a source of livelihood for about 70% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa, especially those that live in rural areas. In Nigeria, it's the mainstay of the economy, but smallholder farmers still lack production and market information. The paper focuses on rice, which is one of the most widely consumed cereal crop worldwide, and third most important cereal grown and consumed globally after wheat and maize. Rice production in Nigeria has been boosted by improved varieties powered by contract farming, which have affected the output, livelihood status, and improved well-being of farming families. Although contract farming boosts agricultural production by providing money, technical assistance, extension services, and better output inputs, small-scale farmers initially didn't embrace the practice due to fear of being cheated. Things, however, changed when agribusinesses like Olam and Nestle started employing the Unidroit Legal Guide on Contract Farming to draft just contract farming agreements. Definition of terms. Contract farming is an agricultural production model where farmers produce specified agricultural commodities to buyers' specifications for a guaranteed market and price. The Unidroit/FAO IFAD Legal Guide on Contract Farming is a useful tool and reference point for a broad range of users involved in contract farming practice, policy design, legal research, and capacity building. It can contribute as well to create a favorable, equitable, and sustainable environment for contract farming. Before we proceed in this research presentation, let's quickly peruse through a case study. Nigeria is the largest producer of rice in Africa, producing about 8,435,000 tons annually, according to FAO. Prior to this achievement, the nation struggled with output because local rice production was left in the hands of smallholder farmers who lacked access to appropriate technology. This prompted Olam International, a leading food and agribusiness supplying food ingredients, feed, and fiber to 22,000 customers worldwide, to employ some aspects of the legal guide on contract farming to implement equitable farming schemes for smallholder farmers in Nigeria. Olam was able to assemble smallholder farmers into groups under the watchful eyes of the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. The objective of this contract farming were to support the development of farmers groups through the mobilization of farmers and facilitation of group formation, the development of farmers production management capacity through training in rice production management practices, post-harvest handling, maintenance of high quality standard, and improved marketing strategies were also pivotal. In addition, the improvement of the marketability of farmers' produce through quality improvement, increased output, and improved storage facilities also were part of the underlying objectives. In designing the contract, Olam engages interested farmers through a yearly registration call. Farmers are then registered as group cooperative societies comprising 30 to 120 members. After this, a coordinator is appointed by Olam to manage the group. The coordinator signs contract agreements on behalf of Olam, while group leaders sign on behalf of group members. The contract hinges specifically on input supply to farmers and buyback of paddy by Olam. Before the commencement of field work by contracted farmers, model farms are established by Olam to produce good quality seed for distribution to farmers. These farms also serve as demonstration plots during field days for the training of farmers. During the first stage of the training, known as the green stage, farmers are taught cultivation practices like land preparation, planting, weeding, and plant protection measures. In the second stage, known as the brown stage, farmers learn pre- and post-harvest practices like bed scaring and proper harvesting methods. In developing a just pricing mechanism, a price committee consisting of group leaders and coordinators move around markets in Nigeria to analyze and unanimously decide on the price of paddy. This is then presented to the management of Olam, who compares the agreed price with feedback from price networks before approval. To ensure the rice farmers contracted do not sell the produce in other markets to bring them to Olam, effective monitoring of group through group leaders and buyback of the produce at prevailing prices is the instrument employed. The rice contract farming is usually resource providing, thereby enhancing farmers' access to productive inputs and credit facilities. Through the involvement of external governance in the rice contract, the rights of all parties are protected. Due to the possibility of crop failure, Olam insures the farm of outgrowers with the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. A premium of 3% of the total cost of the cultivation for the 600 hectare is paid for the crop cycle, which starts in May and ends in December. In the case of damage, compensation is limited to the proportional cost incurred up to that particular stage in the production process. Years ago, for instance, a sum of 4.7 million naira was claimed by Olam as compensation from the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation after crop failures were recorded. This was then paid to the affected farmers after the buyback exercise was over, on the condition that the farmers don't default in their loan repayment. After the cycle is completed, Olam provides buyback incentives to the farmers through the provision of bags, contractors for transportation, and some money for bagging, stitching, and security. When the paddy has been packaged, Olam transports the products to her central mill for processing. To ensure transparency, Olam ensures payment is made in full within 24 hours after receiving the paddy at the mill. Through the legal guide on contract farming, Olam was guaranteed regular supply of raw materials, which helps in addressing the issue of food security. Now, let's look at table 1, and it is a table showing the comparison of productivity among rice farmers in Nigeria. From the table on the screen, you will notice that there was a significant statistical difference between rice yield of contract farmers and that of non-contract farmers. For the contract farmers, they had a yield of about 2,651 kilogram per hectare, while non-contract farmers had a yield of 1,898 kilogram per hectare. Table 2, also showing the comparison of the profitability among rice farmers in Nigeria. Results from this profitability table shows that even though both farmers operated profitably, the profit levels of contract farmers were higher. Contract farmers had a net profit of 59,982 per hectare, while that of non-contract farmers was 47,200 262. From the two tables examined, it can be concluded that rice contracted farmers benefited more during the production cycle than non-contracted rice farmers. If you look at this picture again, you will discover that majority of the workforce in this picture are majorly women, and many of these women contribute immensely to the running of their families. So if contract farming was not in place, what would have been the fate of these women? So we discover that through contract farming, the wide divide between male and female gender is being reduced. It provides social amenities through the instituting of contract farming in some communities. You discover that these companies, the companies that contracted these farmers or these communities, may decide to build roads, health facilities, schools for the communities to also benefit, which is a very great point for these rural communities. It also helps in giving them access to extension service. It also improves rural employment. Unidroit legal guides role in promoting sustainable agriculture. It aids in the eco-friendly agricultural practices. It facilitates access to market. It improves livelihood of farmers. It reduces exploitation. It promotes fair working conditions. It promotes adaptation amidst climate change. Farmers are able to adapt despite the fact that climate change is really limiting the production capacities of many farmers. The use of contract farming, that is the engagement of rural farmers into contract farming contracts, has helped them a lot to be able to navigate the negative effects of climate change. It also hastens transition to clean energy use. You notice that for non-contracted farmers, many of the non-contracted farmers, you will notice that they do things anyhow. Some of them resort to the burning of fuels, which sends bad energy. It fills the atmosphere with carbon, which is not good. But those that are contracted through contract farming, you discover that before they even start planting or start the agricultural cycle, the planting cycle, they are warned to desist from practices that will contribute to the carbon buildup. So it helps in hastening transition to clean energy use or practice. And then finally, it enhances food security through diversification. You know, through contract farming now, formerly farmers usually just depended on producing for their families, but through contract farming, discover that many crops, many varieties of crops can be grown to be able to fight food insecurity. Contribution of the legal guides or contract farming to food security in an evolving landscape. After high school, I invested the little I had into a poultry farm. Despite spending much as a small-scale farmer, my lack of access to the market made it difficult for me to market my products at the right time to boost food security. When you compare my situation with that of contracted farmers explored in the case study, you will notice that legal guides used in drafting contracts create more formalized opportunities that guarantee market access for contracted farmers. This stability allows farmers to employ practices that pace up the movement of food to the final consumers and discourages food insecurity in disadvantaged communities. Small-scale farmers who engage in farming accrue high production costs that increases the prices of their agricultural produce. This makes it impossible for poor people to afford food at just prices. The setup in the case study, which allowed parties to come up with fair prices for the agricultural product, is a testament to the undisputed role the Unidroit legal guides play in protecting farmers from market fluctuations to reduce food insecurity. Many agricultural-based communities have had access to their land revoked after signing exploitative contracts. This halts agricultural production in these regions and makes them depend upon importation to survive. Through the legal frameworks by Unidroit that helps in the standardization of agricultural contracts, this helps in the reduction of the cost of living and prevents the likelihood of disputes with the capacity of making lands not to be cultivated. In regions where traditional principles were formerly used to draft contract farming agreements, governments in such places have begun turning to aspects of the Unidroit legal guide, considering the evolving landscape, to reform unhealthy agricultural laws and policies with the end goal of creating conducive environments where agriculture can thrive. In drought-hit regions like Ethiopia and Eritrea, people find it difficult to get access to quality food supply. The Unidroit legal guide on contract farming helps agricultural businesses to integrate into the international supply chain, marketing techniques that facilitate agricultural trade to such disadvantaged regions. Finally, kwashiorkor and other nutrient-deficient illnesses used to be common in the past when majority of the food Africans consumed was carbohydrate-based. This has, however, changed through the introduction of contract farming agreements that started incentivizing the production of high-protein legumes and vitamin-laden staple crops. Such effort has helped in changing the health status and well-being of millions globally. In conclusion, the legal guide from Unidroit on contract farming is a rare gift leading to promote sustainable agriculture and food security. For farmers that are yet to tap into the advantages that come with contract farming, I will advise that you find a suitable organization and partner with them, because that is just the only way you profitably benefit from contract farming. Finally, don't forget to consult the Unidroit legal guide today. It will be of immense help to you. Thank you very much for listening, and feel free to contact me via email. I'll be available to answer your questions. Thank you.